All right, we're live. So, hey everyone, this is Kevin the Apptrepreneur. Slightly different setting, still sore throat. Uh, Quick little update on the health. It was a very, very bad case of the flu. And here's the thing, well, the fever, the chills, what else? A lot of the things have definitely gotten better. Unfortunately, this voice and the cough is probably going to stick around for a couple of weeks, so that's always fun when you're trying to make YouTube videos for everyone. Hey Brian, hey Alex. So of course we're going to open up this little video to say a couple things. First of all, this is a discussion video. This is an opinion video. This is where we can go back and forth. This is not necessarily a facts video, although I am going to make some assumptions based on personal experience about the topic at hand. Also, this is a live stream, so you're never sure where it's going to go or how long it's going to be, although I will say fairly certain this probably will not be more than a 25-minute video because, you know, we've got I do have things I need to do. Let me go to my channel over here so that I can moderate comments better. Oh, you got your $100 appreciation money even though you were deactivated? Well, that's nice. Glad you got something. A lot of people didn't. Hey, hi Larry. So, oh geez, I messed up that title now that I look at it. Oh well, I'll fix it afterwards. So, anyway, folks, the title of this video, as you're going to see in the edited afterwards, is Now That Ryan Has Been Deactivated, What About Me? Now, that title might sound a little self-centered, but it's actually a little bit more broad. I picked it for a reason. I picked it because after Ryan is driving got deactivated from Uber, which some people argued with me because the title of that video was that he was fired, and people said, you can't get fired, you're an independent contractor. Guys, you're essentially fired. It's a different term, but it's the same basic thing. And that guy is just mowing up a storm over there. You know, folks, hold on one second. Let me close that window. That's distracting. So, anyway, you know, Saturday, people got to do their chores. So, when I say Ryan's been deactivated, what about me? I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about other Uber tubers who are coming, because obviously, no, the Sonic movie did not get scrapped. They're not going to throw away millions of dollars just because of a bad trailer reaction. You know, there were a lot of drivers. I'm not going to say who, because I don't want to single anyone out. There were a lot of drivers, like, you know, commented on it, shared their 2 cents, about why he got fired, or / deactivated, whatever term you want to use. It means the same thing, basically. And kind of giving advice on what you could do to not get deactivated. And then there were some people who were kind of doing the whole, now, what about me? What about my channel? Well, I think my channel's safe because I'm not doing this. I've got a couple videos like this, but I'm going to be fine, I think. And so you start seeing some, and there's multiples, it's not just one person. A few Uber tubers kind of thinking about their channel, thinking about what they might have put on the channel, and even though it might not be asked indirectly, or sometimes it is asked directly, so what about me? Is Uber going to come after me next? Is that going to happen? And here's the thing, guys. And this is for everyone, whether you like me or not, to be perfectly frank. Because I've been doing this for a long time. That's one thing I can definitely hold over most people's heads in this field, is I've been doing this long enough, and I've seen Uber tubers come and go, and Ollie, I got sick. That's what happened to it. I'll explain that at the end. But I've seen people come and go, and I kind of stick around. Heck, even Uberman kind of moved on at one point. And here's the thing. In that time, not only have I seen people come and go, I have seen people be deactivated for their channels. Heck, at one point, Uberman was deactivated for content he put on his YouTube channel. I saw people get their accounts terminated because they were talking about Uber in an unfavorable light. This was a few years ago. They seem to have scaled back on that for a while, but they're going public soon. They're going to have a publicly vested interest in the PR being good. So they might just start deactivating drivers who have YouTube accounts again. So when the question arises, well, Ryan, who has almost 1 million subscribers, got deactivated because of his YouTube channel. What about me? Can I be deactivated for this? I've only got this many subscribers. Maybe they won't care. It's like, well, I don't show live cam footage. Maybe they won't do it to me. Doesn't matter what the reason is, guys. You talk about Uber, you have to be prepared that they will probably deactivate your account at some point. Doesn't matter how many rides you do. Doesn't matter how little you do. Doesn't matter what types of videos you have on the channel. Heck, excuse me, see, this is still not going away. It doesn't even really matter that much if you're really super nice to them, although it does help. There are a couple of channels out there, and I'm not going to name names, that are so complimentary to Uber, who I have watched every single video they've made, and they have pretty much never said a bad word about Uber. Those people are probably in the clear. But you never know. Uber has the right to deactivate you for whatever reason. They have a right to fire you for whatever purpose they see fit. So here's the thing. I run this channel every day, and although it's not like an everyday thing, there are a lot of days I wake up and the thought goes through my head, am I going to actually officially be deactivated today? Because I can still drive. I can still drive if I want. But is Uber going to eventually get sick of me? Like say, oh, you talk too much smack about us. Oh, you encourage people to strike. Oh, you did this thing 3 years ago and you were never properly punished for that. What are they going to do to deactivate me? Like, it kind of goes through my head not every single day, but most days. I wake up and it's like, is today the day Uber deactivates me? Because I know it's coming. I know it's coming. I don't care that much right now. In fact, it would probably be a huge hit video for me. So that I'd get something out of it technically. But I'm going to get deactivated. It will happen. It's 100% gonna happen. Drive Girl Drive, she will probably be deactivated at some point. She made a video where she admitted that one of the things she's been talking about on her channel recently, which, by the way, welcome back, by the way, is how rideshare is destroying cars. And we're in a situation where, even like the Toyota cars, which used to last 10, 15 years, are lasting like 3 to 5. Because you're driving them so much that the cars are being destroyed. So she's been making those comments. Uber might not like that. So they might deactivate her one day. They deactivated your personal driver for live streaming. Now, they claimed it was because he had referral codes in his videos, but that's not what it was really about. We all know it. And he, with all due respect, because I love his channel, he hasn't been doing much recently. I should really call and find out what's going on with him. But they deactivated him, and he had very few subscribers in comparison to Ryan. And by the way, that guy from Chicago, he's going to be deactivated too. I don't know when. He will be. If you're talking about Uber on YouTube, you're going to be deactivated by virtue of the fact that you have that channel at some point. Heck, you might even be deactivated if you don't have the channel. If you don't have the channel, you will be deactivated. Now here's the thing, the channel can help you get reactivated, because what I have seen happen a few times is, and this especially happened with Uberman, they deactivated him because he was showing videos of rides with the customers and doing an occasional live stream. And I think it didn't hurt that because he had a huge following, a lot of us bombarded Uber on Twitter, through email, and they just decided, you know what, this one guy's not worth it, so we're going to reactivate him. I suspect that helped. I don't know the full story behind that, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was one of the things that happened. So the channel might help you get it back, and who knows, maybe if you all bombard Uber with tweets and stuff, maybe Uber will let Ryan back on. I mean, he certainly flies pretty underneath the radar for being an UberTuber, technically. I mean, he doesn't get a lot of shout outs from us. He doesn't talk about the news. He doesn't do collabs. He just does entertaining videos, so he happens to be driving for Uber. So in a strange way, he has the most subscribers, but he goes the least under the radar. And they still let him go. Even though I do not know, I cannot think of a single UberTuber video in the last year and a half before this happened that even mentioned the guy. So it's even a little debatable if he's part of the community technically. But you know, he drives for Uber, he does his thing. I consider him part of the community. So that's where I stand on that. Excuse me, sorry. Again, this cough isn't going to go away for a couple of weeks. But here's the thing. And now we're like at the 12-minute point, so I probably repeated this point. If you talk about Uber in any capacity, prepare to be deactivated at some point in your life. It's gonna happen. It's one of the ways that Uber exerts control over you. I mean, and they do it in such a sleazy way, like, and people, again, they argued this with me in the comments. It's like, Uber fires you for having a difference of opinion. And people are like, you can't be fired, you're an independent contractor. And it's like, well, if you're an independent contractor, you should be allowed to record your own business on the job, right? You should be allowed to talk about the pitfalls of your job online because you're an independent contractor. But no, they are punishing you because you're doing something that they don't like, which is something an employer would do. So I'm sorry, I think you are fired at that point. You can be fired. They can call it deactivation. It's kind of like someone commented earlier in the chat room, like being told you're being let go. No, you're being fired. You know why they come up with different terms like this? It's because of unemployment. It's because of unemployment. Because here's the thing. If you are fired, if you're let go at the job, for example, because of company restructuring, seasonal operations, whatever, you're not considered at fault. At least in California, you're not considered at fault for the termination, so you collect unemployment. And the company, I believe, helps pay for that unemployment because you were not let go without a just cause. And when you're fired, you were fired for a cause. Now, at that point, you could challenge and say that you weren't fired with cause. And if they can't prove you were fired with cause, then you were like unfairly fired. There's a term for it. I don't know what it is. Trust me, I've been through this before. And it could happen the same way. But if you're fired for cause, then you don't get unemployment. You know, that's why they have terms like this. It's to control the unemployment benefits. So when Uber says, oh, you're not employed, you're an independent contractor, and you're not fired, you're deactivated, it's also that they don't have to pay you unemployment. That's what it is. Everything they do is for themselves and for their benefit. So that's of course my opinion on it. And some of these things might differ from state to state. I don't know how the unemployment system works in Michigan. But when you look at Uber's business as long as I have, you realize that Uber's main goal probably even more so than the self-driving cars, is they want to have a bunch of employees who cover the maintenance, who cover the cost and supply of the cars, and who gives more than 8 hours a day with below minimum wage an hour payments and no security of benefits or unemployment or vacation. And they have done and worded everything a certain way to achieve that goal as they slowly push the boundaries of what they can and cannot get away with legally, as you're not an employee and yet you're being controlled like an employee. And again, if you're not an employee, I would argue Uber shouldn't have the right to deactivate you. I actually think, in my opinion, there should be a third-party vendor, a third party of this so far, that their job is to monitor. Uber sends them complaints. They monitor the situation, and they can determine whether or not there is a safety concern on whether or not that person is driving or not. And if there is a safety concern, they can recommend deactivation. But without that third party to be the mediator, then Uber can let you go for whatever reason. Do you know that there's like a feature on the Uber app for the drivers where, you have those little flags like, courtesy, cleanliness. There is a flag in there called quality, car quality. I got it once. I didn't know what it was. I remember making a YouTube video like, what is this? I have never seen this before. And apparently a car quality flag is when you drove up and the customer looked at the car and they say, you know what? I want a better car. I don't want to be in a Prius. You know what I want to be in? I want to be in a Lexus. So you know what? I'm going to flag them for having a subpar vehicle. Now, does that sound like something an independent contractor should have to deal with? That sure sounds like there is a feature in there that Uber is saying, hey, dude, if the customer says you need a better car, you need a better car. No, you are totally an employee in all of this. You are an employee in all of this. You can be fired. Uber is just arguing semantics at this point. So, by the way, one second, folks. I really wonder sometimes, why do people bother to even come in? Just to insult me to my face, as if I'm not going to do anything. Well, first of all, as if it bothers me, but like I'm going to even just let it continue? No. So, yeah, this is why there's protests and strikes across the nation. And by the way, I got a flyer. Maybe I could read that real quick before we leave, because, they have an official flyer for, do I ever get flaked for not being a driver? Oh, yeah, all the time. And people always say, like, why should I look at you, listen to you? You don't drive anymore. And I say the same thing. For the same reason you listen to Shaquille O'Neal when he comments on basketball, because we put our time in. That's why. But if you don't want to listen to those people, that's fine. But that's such a hypocritical stance, because, like, yeah, people who watch basketball, if they only wanted the commentators who come on the game to be basketball players, no one would be watching basketball at that point. So, and the Gmail is not pulling up as fast as possible. Oh, there we go. So, the May 8th press release. Midlife Joe sent me this. So, good for Uberman. You're Uberman Tampa again. That's interesting. Uberman Tampa again? Careful. Careful, Uberman Tampa. Uber could claim copyright infringement. So, Anyway, someone asked me a little, I think it was Ollie, he asked me this earlier. He asked, I thought you were going to do a sit down with the people who are organizing the strike. Why didn't that happen? And I thought it was obvious. I mean, it's been kind of obvious throughout the week. It's because I got sick. We had it scheduled for Tuesday night. I even advertised it in one of my videos, and the fever just spiked. It went so high, and I was very apologetic. I was very much looking forward to that. Excuse me. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to meet with them. Oh, you want your old Substack? Yeah, that makes sense. Unfortunately, I might not get to talk to them before the actual strike happens. However, I will see about talking to them shortly after the strike, if they still want to talk to me. Oh, geez. Sorry. This is why it's going to be a short live stream. But they did have they did have this press release. This is for the Philadelphia market. This is what they said. Philly drivers take on transportation giant Uber with IPO looming. When unregulated Uber services launched in 2013, it was heralded as an innovative solution to many cities' transportation problems. Nowhere was this felt more deeply than the large city with the highest rates of deep poverty, Philadelphia, where concerns over lack of safety or worker protections and increased privatization of essential services were ignored in the interest of cheap transportation in underserved neighborhoods. But Pennsylvania regulators and legislators may finally be open to accountability for allowing a Bay Area tech startup to become so embedded in our state's transportation system. With virtually no requirements for transparency, see PA Title 57A18, and a promise of increased driver exploitation from Uber, which is true, by the way, they have promised that. It has become difficult to ignore thousands of constituents across the state who are stuck with predatory leases and decreased wages. To their credit, some legislators have recently responded to drivers' call for action made through the Philadelphia Drivers Union, a growing organization of transportation network company drivers. State Senator and mayoral candidate Anthony Williams is convening a driver-led policy panel on May 28th, and Mayor Kenny's Labor Department is working with drivers to fight wage theft complaints, which I believe there's a case for many. Hi, Savage Scientist. Where was I? Questions loom, however, about who will foot the bill for the safety and infrastructure travesty that Uber has caused in the region. All current proposals seem to place responsibility onto hard-working drivers through congestion fees, ticketing, and increased officer presence. With an estimated 20 to 40,000 TNC drivers in SC Pennsylvania alone, representing nearly every demographic and industry, our elected officials and regulators cannot hide behind a lack of access to data, as if the drivers who are the data aren't right in front of them on streets every day, holding in one hand all the answers and in the other their ballots. So let's see here. On Wednesday, May 8th at noon, the Philadelphia Drivers Union and the Philadelphia Limousine Association are holding a rally at the Uber Greenlight Hub to remind Uber and their legislators that for-hire drivers make the city work and know how the city works better than any San Francisco tech company ever could. In fact, I'm just going to mention it in that video where like Dara is driving an Uber vehicle for like that promotional thing that we know was fake. He claims that he's never driven in San Francisco before, and it's like, what? So, anyway. While the action is timed to stand in solidarity with striking drivers across the globe, the driver members of PDU and PLA are a community in crisis, many living one missed day of work away from vehicle repossession or missed medications. Instead, unionized drivers will be using their time driving on Wednesday to spread the word that the legislation that regulates the industry in PA is renewed. Driver wages and safety must be made a top priority across party lines. Drivers are asking Philadelphia voters to vote no on ballot question 4. That would add additional officers, ticketing drivers, and demand that the city force Uber to fund safe pickup and drop-off solutions for high traffic areas. Well, I've got my own thoughts on that, but we'll save it for another time. Rather than boycotting Uber, drivers and passengers alike will gather together from noon to 1 p.m. for a press conference and rally, which will close with a prayer for struggling workers everywhere. Okay, so they're saying it's not a boycott. They're not asking for people to stop working, which seems a little, counterproductive. Anyway, here's what the demands are. PDU and PLA's demands for legislators and regulators: 80 to 20 fair split of gross passenger receipts, minimum living wage of $20 an hour after expenses. Now, that's and here's the thing: I can actually see how you could do both of those. I mean, essentially, you have regulation that say, well, you can't take more than 20%, but it also has to pay this much money. So, I guess Dustin's in the house. So, I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. Another thing they wanted to demand: deactivation protection through local oversight that includes drivers elected to the hearing board. Makes sense to me. Uber and Lyft must invest in public education campaigns for riders before instituting any new background check policies. Okay, I'm going to actually... That one doesn't... What's that mean? Background checks are already unfairly leveraged against drivers. Stories of drivers with great ratings suddenly being deactivated for decades. Old minor offenses are rampant in driver forums. Many TNC drivers are the safest on the road because they are the experts of traffic patterns and public behavior. They also care about their passenger safety and the deactivation policies without first addressing public lack of knowledge and how to use the app, verify drivers, and choose a safe pickup spot. In addition, drivers who refuse to transport children without car seats or unaccompanied minors often face reprisals from passengers that can result in deactivation, plus check the plates. As one driver said, when you sign up to drive for Uber, they make it sound so safe and easy. Driving is dangerous work. Uber executives are making all the money while we take all the risk without a living wage. We deserve hazard pay. As a mother, I care about my passengers. I try to go above and beyond, especially when the passenger is intoxicated and may need more help. I am just trying to hang in there, make ends meet, and hang on to our farm. Why isn't anyone talking about driver safety? That's a good question, and we have asked that question many times on this channel. Finally, this is the last demand that they're making, and it makes sense. No changes to terms of service without bargaining with drivers and their representatives in good faith, which would be easy to do. I mean, they put those surveys in the app all the time. Why don't you, make that kind of like a little voting thing? You send it all out there and people can vote. But then, of course, they might try to pull like a stunt where it's like, well, you have to be actively driving so many hours before you can vote on these things, which is like, because independent contractors, right? So anyway, we've got about 70 people in here. Hey, I know we're almost done, guys, but if you haven't, give the video a thumbs up, please. That'd be really appreciated. So we've got Dustin and Savage Scientist and Uberman Tampa in the house. And by the way, and if you were here late and you missed the opening 10 minutes, you can go back and look at it. But yeah, they'll probably be deactivated too. I think at one point Uber will eventually deactivate every person who has somewhat of a reoccurring topic on Uber on their channels. That's kind of the whole point of this live stream, was to point that out. It's like, if you make these Uber videos, you will probably be deactivated at some point. I'm still waiting for the hammer to fall on me. And, well, you know what? When it happens, welcome. Glad you could make it to the live stream, Mad Hat. I will have a field day with that one. Of course, then I don't expect I'm going to be getting like a lot of... I don't know if my videos will be as supportive as it was for Ryan's. I might get like a bunch of divisive things like, well, does he really care if he was deactivated? Well, he didn't really drive. Is that someone we should be feeling sorry for? So that's probably what my videos are going to look like when that happens. But you're trying to fix the washer, David? Well, good luck with that. That's always a fun thing to do. But anyway, I actually do have to go. Colleen, the protest is on May 8th. Although I think it goes through the night, so yeah, I guess that works too. Let's see here. Uberman Tampa. It's called the First Amendment. They have to ask you first. If you fail to take them down, they'll deactivate you. I don't. I'm sorry. I actually don't. I don't know what that meant. That's not being insulting. I just don't know what that meant because First Amendment doesn't really count in the workforce. You can't just say. I mean, in theory, you're supposed to have it, but at the same time, it doesn't really work. I mean, how many people apply for jobs and find out they didn't get the job later on because their Facebook page had them partying like a drunken sailor every night? It's like, First Amendment, you're supposed to have Facebook. You're supposed to be able to do what you want in your free time, but now employees are actually looking at what you do in your free time for reasons whether they should hire you or not. And Uber certainly never asks before they deactivate anyone. So Uber says, Uber doesn't just deactivate you for the videos without asking you to take them down. Oh, that's what you're saying. Well, yeah, but who's going to take them down? Seriously. Especially for like people like me and Ryan, where this is a big part of our job. Because I'm on YouTube, I don't know if I technically count as press, even though, I went to college for journalism, but whatever. So, but yeah, no, they'll ask you to take the videos down. You're not going to take them down, but you shouldn't have to. You should be allowed to do them because, again, you're not an employee. You're not even a contractor. So that's where it gets really, really confusing, guys. Because everything they do, they fight so hard that you don't work for them. And yet everything they do that involves you kind of goes under the assumption that that you do work for them. So yeah, of course he didn't take it down because it got so many views. Like, why would he do that? He was driving, and by the way, this is another reason to drive for Uber. If you could still drive if you have a YouTube channel that you can monetize your rides on. That's why he was still making a lot of money driving for Uber, because he was monetizing the rides. But he's admitted now he wants to start doing other things, and you'll probably see a channel brand rename. But either way, I wish him the best of luck. I do enjoy his videos, and I'm sure I'll enjoy the new videos he makes too. So anyway, folks, I'm gonna have to unfortunately cut it off there. I've got lunch plans with someone, but hey, thanks for joining me. I don't know if there's gonna be a live stream tomorrow, to be honest. I just don't know. We'll have to see. But anyway, now it's time to do the typical closeout for those who were not watching this live. Okay, 33 minutes. I was 8 minutes over. But, what do you folks think about any of this? Do you agree, disagree? I'd love to know. Comment below. Like, favorite, share, subscribe. If you enjoy these videos, consider becoming a Patreon member. It's totally optional, but even as little as $1 a month goes a long way to helping the channel run smoothly. Also, with rising gas prices, if you want to save money on gas, try the Get Upside app below. It's totally free. You'll get cash back on gas purchases. And check out the Apptrepreneur Vlogs channel. There's going to be like a new video every week, pretty much. This week's video, Katie reacts to the Sonic the Hedgehog movie trailer. It's kind of interesting, by the way. And if you want to talk to me or someone else, check out the Apptrepreneur Hangouts on Facebook. You have to be approved, but we'll approve most people. And finally,